a song there by a young man called Yon Son T. This song was released in 2017 when the general presidential elections were coming about. Amara, what you learned from the song, as you can see, that song is still relevant in today's Liberia and Sierra Leone.
Absolutely, I've learned a lot. You know, Africa in the first place were infected with three types of viruses. That is poverty, illiteracy, and ignorance. And to me, it's even bigger than the COVID-19 that we are currently fighting. So normally, it is only election time that you find out most of these things. You have gifts, politicians visit you, they tend to value you, they think that you are invaluable asset. So normally election time is the best time you got yourself exposed, you rub shoulders with these guys who call themselves politicians. Just after election, you know them, they tend to value you less and they have no concentration on you. So when you watch out everything, you understand that election time is the best time that everything happened into Africa. It is only election time that politicians even tend to talk to voters politely. They tell them that they own the power, the sovereignty of the country belongs to them. Democracy is all about voting, and the electorate are the most important people. So normally, people also tend to think that election time is an exploitation time, election time is an employment time, election time is the time that you get connected, and election time is the best time for you to leave your stronghold in time of social status or whatsoever thing. That is why it is only in Africa here when we think about election, the incitement actually is not actually to change the government or to vote for politics or policies on objective basis. Rather, people tend to see the election time to be the best time for you to either exploit, get what you have not gotten over the past 5 years. Because normally in Africa, I think our politics is restricted to 5 years, except in some countries where they have 4 years, like in Nigeria.
And Edward, you are spot on that. That's a lot that the son tried to teach us here, and that it is election time. We see politicians coming to the people and pretending. I will use the word pretending as though they care for the people, and they don't just come this time with empty mouths or empty words. They try to come with something that they think the people need most. They come with money. They come with rights, and besides those two things I need, uh, that are the most things that they gave during electioneering period, they also come with BB promises. Thereby giving the people hope and inspiring them and giving them this imagination that their lives going to get better should they elect these individuals. But one thing that stands out, as you will further in the show be able to share with us, is the issue of gifts, using money, using rights, and other material things to entice the voters. From all indication, we all are aware that they are giving these gifts in exchange for the people's vote, so that the people can have reason um, to be able to vote for them. And that's what we're seeing in Sierra Leone. That's what we also see in Liberia. But the Liberian scenario today, now, this year, we are having by-election for the senators, and they are coming out. All the candidates are coming out, especially in Monrovia. We see money floating in the streets. We see candidates standing off with tons of monies right before them, and they're dishing out money to voters so that they can be able to vote for them. Do you see that happening in Sierra Leone as well?
Well, it does happen in Sierra Leone. This is an allegation that have been coming out since the genesis of Sierra Leone education. We have learned that voters are normally bribed in return of vote. And when we are talking about vote buying, it's just like when a candidate or a political party intend to buy voters or buy the vote of voters, either by promising them employment, services, goods and services, or sometimes they give you money in exchange of their vote. And normally, these issues become very sensitive when it is time for election. It could be start from the time of canvassing, it comes to campaign, especially during the electioneering process. So this is a kind of political malpractice that people normally use, a kind of electoral fraud they use to ensure that they get voters. And this is not only limited to Sierra Leone, it is not in neither Liberia, it is all over Africa, even in the Americas where you are. So normally, when it is during time of election here, politicians become so active. In fact, some of them will even tend to save money over the years that when it is time for election, that will be the best time for them to use what they have to ensure that they secure their offices. So, like in Sierra Leone here, we have certain rumor when it is time, let me just say a year to election, you find out that the flow of cash in this country will definitely be restricted. This we found it out during the time of the last regime. When we have only a single year or a year to the election, we had a lot of cash shortage in this country. Yeah. So most of the time, you found money only with politicians, and by then they will come, and because they may have done the wrong thing during the time of their 4 to 5 years in office, and just because they want now to reclaim the power that they already think that they want to lose possession of, they will use what they have to buy what they want. And because the voters are vulnerable, and most of the time they want to get voters, they watch at two sets of people that they want to vote. First, they watch at the demography of Sierra Leone, we say, or and Liberia, or the demography of Africa per se. We know that we are a youthful population, and most of these people they are unemployed, they don't have money, and some of them even barely spend a day on dollar. So when it is during time of election, they watch at which youths that are very sensitive, and there are certain youth they are very influential. They may have whatsoever they have, but they do not have that monetary power. So these politicians will come in to use this type of youth, and so when they use this type of youth, they may be influential, they're not politically sensitive, but they want to what to cast in their vote. But because of politics, some of them may even develop that kind of political appetite or not to participate into the election because each and every politician have come and failed them. So they pretend not to vote. When these politicians come out, they will make these kind of lavish promises towards them, expose cash to them, cash that they have never seen into their life, and they can easily use it. And they use the other set of politicians or voters again. These are the illiterate, either by the illiterate, they may be residing in the extreme part or in the interior or hinterland or in the provinces I would describe them in Sierra Leone here. Like where I'm in Kenema. So when they come out, for quite a long time, there are certain people in Sierra Leone, even throughout the year, trust me, they may not afford to have $100, that is equivalent to 1 million USD. So if you just get along and give this person 300,000 that could be equivalent to $30, $40, as the case may be. Their brain can easily go on holiday and they tend to cast in vote. So
I
elections
know.
are very sensitive and they tend to vote in the name of what has been given to them.
All right, folks in cyberspace here, you are watching Focus on Liberia. This is the Hour of Politics with me, Anthony C. And we are discussing the politics of gifts in exchange for votes in Liberia and Sierra Leone. I have with me Mr. Edward Amara, who is our West African correspondent based in Freetown, Sierra Leone. Amara, let us do this. I'm going to display politicians giving money to voters in exchange for votes. This happened in Liberia. And once I display that, then later on we will come back to you and display the material you sent off from Sierra Leone, where some politicians were giving out money to voters. So right now, those of you who are watching on Facebook, as you can see on the screen there, we have images of politicians dishing out money to voters. This is their way of campaigning and trying to win the votes of the people. As you can see there in this picture that is being shown, that politician with huge amount of brand new money. If you look at that money there, that's that Liberian dollars you're looking at right there. So that happened in Liberia. Also, we see here Senator Sir Joseph with tons of money right in front of him. Why you think this man is doing this? He's doing this because he wants to win the votes of the people. That is the goal here. The goal here is entice the people with money so that they can be able to give you their votes. And then when he gets to power, then he can be able to profit. So from all indications, politics in Africa has become a business. It has become a business in Liberia. How can somebody because we have Thomas Fowler, who is a senatorial aspirant in Monserrado, Liberia, who gave out $1 million, 1 million Liberian dollars that he was able to give out during an election period. From all indication, it is clear that the reason he gave that money is to entice voters to see him as somebody who cares about them, about their plights, about their needs. But the Thomas Fowler has been in power for so long, but now he's opting for a much bigger elective position. He has decided to dish out huge amount of money to voters so they can see him as the one who cares. There is a CDC chairman, Mamba K. Molu, who is giving money out to citizens. What is the goal here? This is initial election period, and he's doing all this so that they can be able to win the trust and confidence of the people. In other words, this is a political trade. This is a political business. These guys are dishing out money so that the voters can be able to give them their votes in exchange for the cash that they have. But this is not only unique to Liberia. This is not only unique to Liberia. Amara, I'm going to play the video here that you sent to us from Sierra Leone. Folks, watch, and then Amara will be able to give a little commentary after that video. Watch. All right, folks, we are back with you. The video that you just watched, where this politician was seen giving money to people happy in Freetown, Sierra Leone, and Edward is here to hold contest around it. Amara, what you make of that video? What was going on there?
That is a very interesting video over there. That happened in our last election. Yeah, that was in 2018. You know, as I said initially, when it is during time of election in Africa, we tend to see politicians dishing out money in the name of vote return, and that actually happened in some part of Freetown, though we couldn't get the exact area. But they took the video, and that was actually circulated all over social media, and also it went on YouTube and whatsoever thing. You know, that is a kind of cash in reward of the vote of the voters, and you are seeing the amount of people that they are playing with their mind. In Sierra Leone, when you watch our demography, the youthful population is very high compared to the aged, and most of this youth, around 70% of the youth, are definitely not literate. 30% of them are literate. And the one that are even literate, we are also watching at the quality of the education that they are having. Some of them are only high school graduates. They have never been to colleges or universities. So the quality of their education is also questionable. And most of these youth are actually unemployed. We have university students or college students here who are postgraduate degree or undergraduate degree. Some of them are even masters. They are definitely not employed. Some are even employed, but unfortunately, the amount of salary that they are receiving is not commensurate to the amount of years they spend in school and their social commitment whatsoever thing. So when it's new time of election, politicians tend to use these youth who are very vulnerable. They tend to dish out money to them in reward of cash. And those money are actually given on peculiar circumstances, like when it is just few days to the time of election, they will come with an, if I'm seated here, like they just use me like one, if I am feeble-minded like that, they will say, okay, we know that you're a graduate, You are definitely not employed. You are seeking employment. What we need to do, we want you to mobilize youth who you know, and since you are an influential person, we want you to mobilize youth whom you know that they can be able to vote for us. And that is where they get what they call, what I normally call a block vote, because they believe that the money that they are going to supply to these people in return of their vote, definitely they are going to get it. And they are going to make frivolous promises to these people, not with the intention of fulfilling it. By the end of the day, since these people are also poor, they are vulnerable, and the best thing that they know there is the solution to their problem is having cash into their pocket. So they may tend to even fulfill. They will tell you that this man has never come into power, and yet he has decided to give you money in return of your vote. So if you decide to vote for him, or let us assume that you vote for him at the end of the day, we are going to reward you more than what you have received. So that is normally what happened there. And it was a kind of situation that happened in 2010. I mean 2007. It happened in 2012, and also in 2018 election. We also heard about it. In fact, some politicians will even come. They will distribute what they call a kind of T-shirt here. They call it polo. They will give you 10,000 leos, including that. And some people will be saying that no, I'm not going to receive that money anymore. But there are certain people who are able to get $1. That is 10,000 is equivalent to $1 in Sierra Leone here. But they will definitely not have it. So when it is time, you definitely go out, politicians supply those money, and they use very influential people. Sometimes they can even use traditional rulers. They will definitely go there, promise, give some frivolous promises to traditional rulers. And these traditional rulers also, they may tend to even support the politics of the day, because they know that they can only be protected and maintain cash flow within them and the ruling party or whatsoever agency that may be available there, depending on how they are going to influence their chiefdom to vote on their behalf. So that is normally what they do here. It's no different from any other African
So,
country.
so, so
And
Edward, the politician who was seen in that video distributing money, what is his name? You remember his name, and what position was he running for when he was distributing money to the voters?
these are some these are politicians who are definitely not renowned in the
Mhm,
first place.
mhm,
What they normally do, as I said initially, the main politician, let us assume that I am a flag bearer or I'm running for one like I'm running for a parliamentary seat
mhm.
or a senate seat that normally call in Liberia, or a parliamentary seat in Sierra Leone, yeah, or if I'm a presidential candidate or any other like councillorship here, these people will definitely not come out publicly to distribute money to them. What they do, they use the inner cycle. They have their own syndicate that they create. And those syndicate that they create normally, they use the influential people found within the community. And when they come out, they are definitely not coming out directly to tell you that we are going to give you this money in exchange of your vote. Rather, they are going to do this negotiation with people that are very influential, and they will mobilize, if not assemble, this youth at the end of the day. So when they come, you see influential youth behind political parties like the APC. That was then. When they come out, like when if they know that they are using the APC party, you see influential youth
So,
who are
so,
from
so,
that
so
particular.
Edward, to interject, does it mean that the gentleman who was distributing the money was not a candidate, and you're trying to say that he was one of the campaign staff
Yeah, just
for
one
one
of
of the
the strong supporters.
candidates?
That is what they do. Yes, yeah, that's one of the strong supporters. They hide behind these people. They
Okay,
may not be the direct candidate because they know that, in fact, it's an electoral fraud. If a
okay.
politician who's directly involved into an electioneering process
Hmm.
and having have his candidacy approved by the electoral commission board, if he or she is involved into giving bribe or bribing voters in the name of return of vote, it's a chargeable offense, and definitely you can land yourself to court and your candidacy can be invalidated.
All
So what they
right.
normally they do not come out publicly,
Mhm.
but they use the influential youth to bribe the voter. So that is why when normally they come, they don't go into all youth, they don't go into all traditional rulers, they don't go into all people, but they use the influential people to ensure that their interest is being manifested through them and they have a block vote.
Wow. Thank you. Wow. In
That is what they
Liberia,
do.
it's a different case. The politicians are seen physically with the money, distributing the money, even though their campaign staffers can be there. Sometimes they instruct them, they carry the distribution, but they are at the very scene where the money is being distributed because they want the voters to see them, that they are the one who made the funds available, that their campaign staffers are distributing. Sometimes they go as far as trying to give out the first portion of the money and then turn the distribution over to one of their staffs to do that. That way, they are sure that the people they are giving the money to will know that the money is coming from them so that they can remember them when they get at the ballot box. We also show a picture earlier, and I told you earlier that about Momba K. Molu, who is the chairman of CDC. He was seen also distributing money to citizens. And sometimes, like you said, they try to do it cleverly to say, oh, this is for loan. This is a loan scheme. One person who did that too is Senator Sir Joseph, and he said he was giving money out to market women so that they can be able to go into business. That's how they do it. They will concoct a clever reason why they are giving this money, but every smart person will know the reason they're doing this is all because they want the votes of the people. Because we know that when they are not running for office or when it's not election time, they don't carry on these giving that they continue to do only when election time has come around. And one of the things too, Amara, in Liberia, that politicians have been giving to voters is raised. Let me pull the pictures on the screen right there. If you look on your second device, you will see that we have a senate, somebody running for senator. Here now we have one Abu Kamara, who contested in one of the recent by-election and won. He was seen distributing rest. This is their strategies to keep the voters engaged, that they care. And, they're giving them rights. We have Thomas father and aspiring for the Monserrato County Senate seat. He's seen there with Liberia's final minister, and this happened on a weekday when the final minister should be at work. Liberia, according to recent report that I read about, that Liberia growth rate is at 0. No, it's minus 2.5%. But why this is happening, surprisingly, the final minister disclosed that Liberia has a surplus. I don't know how your projected growth rate is at negative 2.5%, and then you have a surplus. Economists need to come and make sense of that. So there is Abu Kamara with rice on his head, trying to project himself as a humble man who cares about the people and trying to give them rice. Samuel was standing there. Then they have bags of rice over there. And this is the only way, they can think about is that's the only thing they can do to show these people that, look, we care about you. So, Amara, that is my question. You think is that's the only way, is that's the only message that can resonate with the voters for them to be able to vote for these people? If they don't give rest and money, will the people not vote for them? Is that why it is?
Thank you very much. See, most of the time they said, the way you make your bed, so shall you lie on it. When you see politicians coming in to do direct bribing for them to get returns of vote in favor of them, it can actually be described into two food. First thing, it may be like a politician has actually run for office. After running for the office, he maybe has spent 2 or 3 years and his time of expiring or his mandate ends in the next coming year, and he knows that he's about to lose the vote, or he may have lost the support of the majority of the people because he has never served into the interest of the people. So they will tend to manipulate the minds of these people. And there are times poverty is definitely a disease. It influences your decision making at times, even though you are conscious or aware of the fact. These are conscious mistakes. You are really aware of the fact that what you are doing is absolutely wrong, but you have no means of not sharing into the corrupt act because that is the only livelihood that you depend on. So what normally politicians do, they believe that they have ruined their reputation. They have damaged the trust that the people have in them because they were actually entrusted with the people trust prior to the election and the people voted them in. But after the 4 consecutive years they spent in office, they could not live up to expectation. And at the end of the day, they tend to come with the best way they think and feel that they can actually involve into having these people is like trying to vote them in. They give money. So most of the time, like the man they are naming Thomas Fala, even here, like these things can normally happen when a ruling party is in power. And they know that they have lost the majority or the popular support of the country because of the way they manipulated, bastardized the entire economic system, relegated the people trust into them, and they no longer tend to have that same popular support that they had as at the first time of election. So the best way they think and feel that to regain the trust of these people and to buy their vote over is by distributing these things. And normally they tend to distribute things that the people actually are in dire need of, like rice. Rice is the staple food of in Sierra Leone, Liberia, and Guinea. And the best way they know that the Somali election sometimes happen either within the rainy season or in the first in the first summer season, that during the dry season now, when the livelihood of people will be deteriorating. So they come with things that the people actually need. They give you money, they give you rice, they tend to make promises telling you that we just took over, but our second time in office, you give us the opportunity, we are definitely going to do it. So those who do not have money, they definitely tend to lose election. But those who have money still maintain the power because the people they do not have what I call, there is no more what independence into their decision making. Rather, they become dependent, and they feel and think that the best way they can also exploit the system and actually maintain their own way of living is to accept money in return of their vote. And most of them, that is the power of illiteracy. They tend to trade their vote in the name of money. And when politicians get this money, as long as they have spent huge money during the time of campaign, when they enroll themselves into office, with that manipulation, they will tend to reap all what they have sold by giving you money before ever they even turn to your interest. So normally when they lost popularity, that is what they do. And they know that the best way for them to buy the people's trust back is by giving them money. And that was what they failed to do in the initial stage, because they may not give you money directly, but they promise you to what? To improve your social status, like creating employment, educating the youth, trying to improve on the health facilities, the road condition, and light. Some they can even they can even promise them like giving them job after everything. Some they can even open business during the time of campaign. If that is why sometimes you can even see them involved in distributing money to what? To market women. They will be there, but normally they use their own way. Sometimes when they come, if they know that this is a market traders chairman or the chair lady, they will just call you, they will talk with you, and the market traders chair lady will have to go and communicate the information that he has already chatted or conversed with the politician in question. When they go, they distribute this money. So most of this time, sometimes even when the politician is not living, you hear other people crying for that the money given to us by this politician never reach us. But people
All
should
right.
actually start. Why should this man only be given money when it is time for vote? Because
Yeah, time for
normally,
election. Is that the only time they have this money? Is that the only time they can give the rights? Or
exactly.
doesn't it tell you the voter that hey, this man is doing this for a purpose, and that sole purpose is to get your vote, and when he gets that vote, he's elected. He's going to turn his back. He has made his investment, and now he's going to be reaping his profit over the years.
That is exactly because normally, as I said initially, what politicians do is like they are investing into the voters' vote,
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
because they will come and give you money in return of their vote. And most of those money that they actually distribute during the time of elections, this money are actually being carefully recorded by these mischievous guys who call themselves politicians.
exactly.
And they will do that particular manipulation carefully, and they will play it with the mentality of the people. But because poverty, illiteracy, and ignorance is one of it's worse than the COVID-19 that we are currently fighting. It's very worse because this is a disease that we have been living for quite a long time, and some people have lived into poverty, and they are definitely going to die into poverty. And one of the best way that, because they cannot even improve our educational system, because I've been knowing that we have a kind of highly illiterate youth in Africa who tend to know between right and wrong, and we tend to do the right thing, and some of us will read, understand, and try to make decisions objectively. So they'll forget about educating the youth. They'll forget about fulfilling their social contract that they sign with the people. Rather, they will tend to be selfishly ruling for themselves and diverting money into their personal account, building other things abroad, and trying to make their family like a fully established one, who are definitely ready to take up over the governance of the system when definitely they leave. So what they do when they distribute this money at this particular time, yeah, they are making investment. They invest everything and the table
Definitely,
is
definitely.
after
That is an investment that they
election.
are making,
All of
Edward.
those
You are right about that. They are making an investment that
investment.
they know that when they are elected, they will be able to cash out. Let's leave it right there for now. Again, folks, in cyberspace, you are watching Focus on Liberia on our program, The Hour of Politics, with me, Anthony C., your host. Our topic for today is the politics of gifts in exchange for votes. So, Edward, let's take a little step back. I know you and myself, somebody will say we are a little too young, but is there a new phenomenon looking at history, something you might have read maybe as a child coming up, when you didn't have political eyes yet? Is there something that you remember that was happening? Is there a new phenomenon? Earlier, you said that this is not only unique to Freetown or Sierra Leone and Liberia, it's across the whole world. But what I'm trying to look for is, I remember as a little kid then, I used to see Lapa was prominent at the time. Election time, you will see the candidates will be able to print Lapas and their pictures will be on the Lapa. A particular political party, emblem and name will be on the Lapa, and then they will move into, the leeward counties and give these Lapas to our mothers and our sisters. And they will go about printing t-shirts. All right. And people, because of those t-shirts and lapas that were given to the ordinary people, they will have no choice other than to reciprocate with those little gifts that the politicians have given them. Do you have memory of anything like that? This is not new, isn't it?
This is absolutely not new, and I think I could remember because I grew up in Guinea, and
Mhm.
being a young kid growing up in Guinea,
Mhm.
I under the Lansana Conte regime,
Mhm.
who actually passed off during our stay in Guinea. Now we have another person who took over. That was from Busa Daddy's camera into a coup d'etat, and we are seeing this man there. Alpha Conde now is now leading Guinea. You see, normally before this time, most of the time, in fact, most of the lappers that we normally see, they are actually politicians' face are actually found on those lappers, sometimes on t-shirts. And you also watch at the demography by then, and you watch at those who are actually living into the interior. They hardly afford to get this thing. But
Yeah,
by then, people tend to even vote. They may not even know the candidate that they are voting for, or they know they are voting for a particular political party because
exactly.
this particular region or place belong to that political party. So candidate, not that those things that were actually printed, they were printing them like to bribe them. Sometimes they have a particular brand of a company or any local factory that normally produce this cloth. They
Mhm.
use a popular a popular candidate or popular politician who is in power or either a popular opposition leader. So they print their pictures on those lappers, sometimes clothes, shirt, and whatsoever things to ensure that they extend or they disseminate their popularity to the least people. And each time, in fact, in Guinea, like I'm a Kisi, I grew up in Guinea. Sometimes you even see somebody going to buy a particular lapa just because Lansana Conte shirt picture is on it, and that will prove like they are actually in support of Lansana Conte. And normally, if they will even tend to produce what political party wins room at that grass level, in
Mhm.
the we are each of them we see them into those kind of suit that we portray that they're actually in support of those politicians. And when their local politicians want to make a reward for them, they tend to divert those things. So this thing have actually been going on, but
So
it
so
was not.
what has taken over from Lapa now? What has replaced Lapa as a gift? Because then that time you're talking about, uh, I noticed that most of the people that were active in politics that were voting for the most part were our mothers, and our fathers. They are the one who were voting during that time for the most part. I'm talking about in the 60s, in the 70s, and also in the early 80s. You notice that it was mostly our mothers and our fathers, the chiefs, those were the people who were active in politics. Those were the ones who were voting. So the lapa thing was common. The ladies will use the lapa to tie it. They were sewing shirts with it for a particular party and a candidate, and everybody will fall for that and go and vote for that person. So my question now is that we don't see the lapa as much as it used to be. So what has replaced it? What we see now is t-shirts, right? That's what people go for.
Yeah, thank you very much. Interestingly, I can comment more in the 90s.
Yeah.
I'm, I can comment more about in the 90s, but I read something around the 70s, 80s,
Mm-hmm.
and even in the early 90s, I read something about it. But let me tell you one thing: when the world developed, mentality changes, and when the mentality changes, it depends on the type of youth.
Yeah.
Before this time, I think they even by then in the 1780 to the 90, you cannot compare the Africa population to by then, and
Mm-hmm.
the way of the behavioral pattern of youth have actually changed. And what people used to value by then was using things like lappers,
Mm-hmm.
because you can even like in Africa, we know that if you are a woman, you need to be identifiable, such thing. So
Yeah.
even your way of dressing normally portray those things.
Mm-hmm.
But now that happened that people don't like, even the young population, you see most of these young girls, they prefer wearing trousers. And this the shirt that they normally print with politicians what pictures on it is always in the form of white for them to be clearly identified. So all of those things have actually been replaced with money, because people no longer consider those clothes as something that is very tangible. Because by then, people who are not illiterate, their earning power was so low to understand that when you make them gift in the form of lapper, they tend to appreciate it more. But now, because our mentality have changed and we have a lot of electronic sophistication, youth are easily fancied by cell phones, by what they see. So normally they promise them employment, and most of this time, most of our politicians who used to go in the interior asking for vote in return, money, giving them money or gift in return of their vote. Our population by then, especially at the aged, we are not too conscious on how to be employed. The most important thing is for their social amenities to be given, or their social status be improved. And sometimes they work on those things. But now, because of
All right, as Amara is having some technical difficulty there, you were talking about the taste for material thing
yeah,
has
people are
changed,
definitely
given because of the demographic shift. He was talking about now we have more young people than older people who are active in politics, and so a young person would rather have a
yeah,
T-shirt.
yeah, yeah,
And
yeah,
and,
yeah,
and,
yeah.
and, and Amara, you talk about the 90s. It reminds me of Charles Taylor time. During Charles Taylor time, T-shirts were printed with Charles Taylor or photo on it with NPP. And that was when we were just coming from the 80s. So the trend
Interesting.
of
That
Lapa
is
had
actually
continued.
interesting. I
I
think
remember
in
Charles Taylor time,
1996.
there were Lapas still being printed with Charles Taylor picture on it.
Exactly. That was but that yeah, that was in something around 1995, 1996, 1997. Those things we
Mm-hmm.
are actually, because that was
Mm-hmm.
how the behavioral pattern of the youth we are, and people
Mm-hmm.
we are still living. You know, it's a generation and thing. A generation lasts around 30 to 36 years, so it's a generation and thing. Now
Right.
our own generation is definitely a change one. We believe in. But let me tell you one thing. During the time of 2018 election, yeah, we saw politicians who we are actually interested in buying vote from voters. What they do, they even offer cell phones to voters. They
Jesus
offer
Christ.
cell phones. Yeah. They offer cell phones to voters, and they offer cell phones to those who are actually serving as party agent to collate all of those things. So all of these things, this is our fancy. Or nobody, in fact, if you ask here, a cost of a lapaya is around 30,000. That could be around $3. So nobody will care about that. But they are buying phone around $100, $150. So when they present the cell phone to you, and they tend to value it more, because now our own generation is more of an electronic prolific one. We use it to get in connection. So that is why they are not forgetting about these things and buying the youth over the vote, buying the voters vote with what they think that we are appreciating now into our own generation. So all of these things have been relegated. So even the old generation now, that they used to supply these lappers to, they find it very difficult how to use the cell phone. And most of them, in fact, they are so aged to understand that they hardly contribute to any positive electoral process here. And majority of the voters, around 70 to 80% of the voters are youth, and these youth are fancying the electronic material. So they tend to go against go for them instead of listening to these things. And they only identify themselves with the polo or shirt or t-shirt that they normally use, is
Mm-hmm.
just to advertise the popularity of the candidate. And sometimes they will tell you in Sierra Leone, they will tell you that they will take your money from you and vote wisely. But most of the time it goes the wrong way. But one important thing that we are also failing to realize, that we have two types of election. First, you have the electoral college here. They actually select the candidate for election. And the corruption of the election process actually starts on that particular basis. When the electoral college present the wrong candidate to the voters at the end of the day, they may tend to vote the wrong person in question. Because when it's during the time of electoral process, if you're a young man, you may be eloquent, you are influential, and people know you, but you do not have that type of money to bribe those who are actually going to make the decision, just like what is happening today in America. You are seeing people want to get the flag bearership of either the presidential candidate, the Republican or Democrat candidate. If it is in Africa, yeah, people who have money, they will bribe the voters. Those are actually part of the electoral college. So in Africa, what they normally do, you may even see a politician who have been given a symbol to contest with a particular political party. When clinically or objectively we analyze that person's capability, he or she is not worth to go and represent the political party. But it is because that person has money and has managed to manipulate himself, bastardize the entire electoral system, and gain access to those who are actually making the decision. They will definitely give them a symbol. And if they come out now like a fish out of water, who can definitely cannot do anything
And
on the
Edward, let me jump in there. That good point you're making right there. You are right. It happens within the political parties in candidate selection. A political party will make a decision to go with candidate X because maybe they have information that candidate X maybe has some money to be able to campaign because they know that campaign requires a lot of money. You can't show up to the voters and tell them, hey, this is my platform. If you elect me, this is what I do. They have to believe that that kind of message won't sell to the voters. The voters will not buy it. All right. So they will look for the candidate who has maybe the bigger pocket. And that is how our candidates get selected even at the presidential level. They look at the candidate who has the money, and that's the person who's going to become the candidate. Whether or not that person is the least qualified or is the least suited candidate for their ticket, they will make the decision to go with that person because they know that that person has money to spend. And in some instances, they know that that person is the most flawed candidate that they can produce, but they're like, whoa, we are helpless here. We have to go into a campaign that requires a lot of money. We don't have the money. What is true, this person might not be the best we can offer, but we will give this person or present this person to the voters, and then we will sell this person with cash, and we'll sell this person with rice. We'll sell this person with t-shirts, and the people, because they are vulnerable, they are in absolute destitution and desperation, to survive economically, or they'll be able to vote for that candidate, and it is just sad. Again, folks, in cyberspace, this is Focus on Liberia. This is our program, The Hour of Politics, with me, Anthony Sie. I have with me Mr. Edward Amara, who is focused on Liberia West African correspondent based in Freetown, Sierra Leone. And he has joined me to discuss the topic, the politics of gifts in exchange for votes, the case of Liberia and Sierra Leone. This is where you want to be to follow a responsible conversation that informs you on the issue. Amara, we're going to do this. We have a caller on the line, and so those of you who are following us right now, our phone line is open. You can see the number right on the screen there after the second star. That number is 605-313-6004. Make sure you enter the code 791403 pound to join the conversation and participate. All right, I have this caller. Let me see if this caller is really. Oh, the caller seems not to be ready. I don't know what's going on here. Let me see. Caller, you are on the line. There should be, it seems to be there's a problem from your end. Um, I don't know. So, caller, maybe you should call back. That is caller with 5913. You should call back in. I can't get to unmute you to get started here. I don't know why. So, Edward, let me come back to you while we wait for that caller. Let's go into the questions that we have here. All right, I think the issue is resolved with the caller. Hold on. The issue is resolved with the caller. Let me see if I can bring the caller in here quickly. All right, caller, quickly, your name and where you joining us from. Welcome to the Hour of Politics. Caller, are you there? Caller, are you there? Well, that caller seems to not be ready. Edward, let me come back to you. And my question to you is, in this entire exercise of vote trading, for with money. Who is being played here? You think the politicians are doing the right thing? They just playing the game right, and it said the voters are being played here.
Online.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay,
Online, Edward, I'm talking to you. Who is being played here?
I think the voters are being played because the politicians are seen as the cunning people here who know actually the damage they want to cause. But the best way for them to cause the damage is to first colonize the mentality of the voter in question. And the voters per se here, they do not actually care. They don't want to know the consequences of what they are making out here. The most important is for them to get a direct reward. So the politicians actually played, they dribble the voters cunningly, and at the end of the day, they land their goal by seeing themselves into office and carefully exploit these people. So it's like just trying to set their birthright. That is, the politicians actually they play the voters.
And is there any way we can blame the politicians here? Or I mean, the voters made their decision, right? Instead of asking for development, instead of asking for accountability, they asked for money, or they took money and rights, for representation.
I think we shouldn't watch at it philosophically. Rather, we should watch it. We don't philosophize things here, but let us try to put it into practical term here.
Okay.
I read some part of the Bible. If you meet me, you know that I am very hungry and I ask you to feed me. Don't tell me that Jesus can help you or God will provide for you. Rather, give me the food that I want to eat. Normally, voters they found themselves in a very vulnerable position. They may actually be in need to get good roads, social services, improve their condition. By the end of the day, some of them are even dying with hunger, and they hardly eat a better food or a balanced diet at the end of the day. So what they need, I think what the most pressing need is like having food, a good abode, or if not a dwelling place. So that is why they tend to forget about all of these things because politicians are almost so like that pass. We change them every day. At the end of the day, they are not fulfilling anything. So the circumstances, they are watching at the circumstances by the end of the voter in question. That is why they do not succeed to buy all voters. Rather, those that they think they are very vulnerable. Those they think that they can't buy them over, they let them go. But they actually bribe the vulnerable. And the vulnerable population in Africa are the majority compared to those who are not vulnerable. And when I'm talking about vulnerability here, I'm more watching at the physical appearance of somebody or he. When those are even living in poverty, I don't want, or they may be living in poverty, but they are not living actually in abject poverty. But irrespective of your status, as long as you cannot continue to receiving something that you should actually balance your living perpetually. So they tend to manipulate these things. So we may blame the voters, but I do not want to give them the blame absolutely because the politicians have actually created a situation that makes the voters very vulnerable. And when they ask them, when they approach them to buy their vote, they'll have no option rather than to exchange in the name of money.
All right. Let's read some comments here. This one from Mackalaw Mackalaw. He said, I'm watching from Georgia. Georgia, I mean, New Georgia Banners Face. Somebody's following us from Liberia. Thank you for joining us here. Eva Sad writes that people have to be smarter. And by the way, full disclosure, Eva Sad is an affiliate of Focus on Liberia. They don't, and she writes here for us by saying they don't even highlight. She was talking about the politician, going before the people with money, and they don't even highlight in Liberia. Makala, my question is to your host. There, I don't know what the person Makala is trying to write here. My question to the host: why about building houses, universities with 2 to 3 years before election? How did you refer to that? Makala, I don't know. I think Makala is trying to make the point if they do it 4 to 5 years before election, like the base schools and university, where we also call that as, selling, buying votes. I think that's the question Makala is trying to ask that. So take note of that when we come back so you can respond to it. Michael Law again. I wrote this because election is around. We are seeing everyone sharing money, rise, campaigning just to be in power. My point here is that not only an individual, but he need to show everyone that are part of this coming senatorial election, why only Honorable Sir Joseph, Honorable Thomas P. Fala, Chairman Molu, and Sir Joseph, because these are the ones who I have evidence on. I show you pictures of Sir Joseph, what's his name, Mamba Molu, and Thomas Fala. If I have pictures of other people and all the politicians, are guilty of this. Most of the politicians are guilty of this, in so many ways. But until I see that, then these are the ones I have evidence for. So that's what I want to talk about. So, Michael Lord, they are not the only one. I agree with you on that one. James Momo say he's watching us. Let's go to more comments here. Michael, your son writes, because you are leaving the topic is not 16 billion. This government received, I don't know why you're talking about 16 billion. I have not talked about 16 billion here. Let me see. Bakubwe Pario, like the person will use their money to develop the country or build them. Asking the question right there. Um, So true. This is why they keep their citizen in majority down. So they keep using money to manipulate them during election. That is Bekube Parrot writing another comments. Those are just a few comments. Edward, let me see if we have a caller on the line. That caller is back on the line again. Let's see if we can bring the caller in. I think things should be fine at this time. So caller, your name and where you joining us
Hello.
from. Yeah.
Hello, I'm Paul Lamlang from Canada.
Oh, Paul, we are happy that you are joining us. What you have to make up the topic?
Well, I listened to the guest, and I disagree with most of his points. I will tell you, like he said, most African politicians, more especially left, I'm making reference to Liberia, do not use money to win vote. Most vote in Liberia is based on tribal line. Not only Liberia, also Sierra Leone. I want you to know. Let's take, for example, Yeke Kolova. How much you think Yeke Kolova had to influence voter? No. It was based on his popularity among his group of his peers who live within the same environment like him, with him, voted for him. Yeke Kolova didn't spend money to win an election. Despite that, even in Charles Taylor administration, when Charles Taylor had during the election, most people that won election, House of Representatives, it was based on Charles Taylor popularity. They didn't spend money. And most people fought on tribal line in Africa. The politicians only take advantage of the illiteracy rate in Africa, so they try to tribalize politics. Tribalizing the politics. The parliament, if the parliament and the lawman man is voting for opposition, and the parliament is in majority, or eventually, the parliament will win the election. The only reason is because most of the people are illiterate, so they intend to vote on tribal line.
So you are saying, hold on, caller. You are saying that, in the absence of rice and money, there's history that other candidates have won, and you use Yeke Koluba as an example. Any other person you can think of? So you talk about popularity as well. So why, if there's no popularity, can an individual win without money and rice?
Prince Johnson won election in Lima County, not by spending money.
Okay.
He won by popularity.
And tribal line, baby?
That's it. Then let's look at George Boley. George Boley did not spend money to win an election in Grand Chile.
Okay.
He won it on tribal line.
Mr. Safe, I can come in.
What I'm talking about.
We have different type of electoral malpractices or electoral fraud. We are only talking about vote in exchange of money. We have a lot of tribalism or whatsoever. Voting on tribal line is another a type of electoral fraud. But I think the topic of discussion here, we are discussing vote in exchange of money. Nobody is saying that voters do not actually vote in Africa in tribal land. Tribalism play a key role in African politics, and we know the root causes of those things. But even in terms of tribalism, we still have the factor of money playing over there. I think the key factor of discussion here is vote in exchange of money. Nobody is saying that electoral fraud in time of tribalism does not actually come into play. I think that is why the caller need to understand.
Let me come in, Mr.
Mr. Sia,
Yeah,
go ahead.
first of
Go
all,
ahead.
how rich are Africa? The African politicians don't have money. You know, majority of them are poor.
In fact,
So where do they have the money to vote?
Hold on, Edward, let him land, then you will respond.
To pay. Yeah, where do they have to get this money from to pay people to vote? I'll tell you the truth. Most African are all women reference, except for Nigeria. I spent 13 years in Nigeria. I know some Nigerian politicians spend money, but mostly too they also vote on travel line in Nigeria. Except when you know where the money comes in? When two people of the same tribe trying to file for opposition, that's when a little bit of money come in, but not even much. And even based on that, then it comes to sectional area.
Yeah,
caller,
hold on. So, caller, your point about tribalism, is true. It is realistic. It is something that we know about. But are you saying that no one has ever used money to win election? Is that your point here?
Oh no, I didn't. I was not saying they use the money to win. They only use money to motivate. But most African leaders win election on tribal line. Most African leaders win election on tribal line. I will give you an example. The Hausa is one of the largest tribes in Nigeria. That's why you find the Hausa mostly dominated the Nigerian politics. Not that the Hausa are not the most educated people in Nigeria, but because of that tribal link, the Fulani and the Hausa all joined to consider themselves one. Then it comes to religion again, Muslim, which plays a major role too in African politics. Religion also plays a major role in African politics. I hope you guys consider that too.
So let me ask you this question.
To dominate Nigeria.
Yeah, hold on. Let me ask you the question. I want us to stick to our topic a little more. I like the that other variable you brought in is good, but you said that politicians don't have money. Let's restrict it to Sierra Leone and Liberia. You said they don't have money to use money. So if they don't have money, who in Liberia has the money?
Well, I will tell you. You know, look, I was quickly involved into Liberia politics from Parker Matthew and time. When you said United Party, I'm a very funny member of United Party. The guy who's now Joseph Walker.
Are you answering my question? Party? If the politicians don't have the money, who you think have the money? Because Thomas Fala, for example, just gave $1 million Liberian dollars,
and he saw it.
And you saw
but
it. That is not money.
$1 million to win the House of Rep. Let me come in. Let me come in. When Thomas Fala became representative, he did not get $1 million. He did not spend money to become representative. So it's just that he already in a position I want to. But before he became representative, did he spend $1 million? He only won because of popularity.
I agree, but he's spending $1 million now during an election season. Doesn't that tell you that he's trying to?
Yes, because he's not in a position. But I will tell you. I will tell you. Let's look at. If you're talking about how much did what his name? Darrell Gelon spent to win the senatorial seat in Liberia, in Monrovia. How much did he spend?
I would say little or nothing.
Did he have money?
I would say little or nothing.
So that's what I'm telling you. So if we come to money, I will tell you, CDC spent more money to lost the election than what Darrell Gelon spent. You and I know it.
All right.
So money does not much influence our politics.
Money does influence our politics. We have seen examples of people using money to win in Liberia, and equally so, I agree with you.
But money influences every politics in a war. If you talk about that, even in the United States, money influences the politics in America.
But
in Africa, we don't have the money. That's why I tell you, we don't have. Our politicians don't have the money to influence the politics.
And then the question is, who have the money? The people that control the government money, they don't want to have the money, right? And that's why they are using it. So thank you for your contribution. Again, I couldn't agree with you more that popularity, travel lines are key also in getting people elected. But I think you can agree with us that money also, not only in Liberia, in most countries, has helped to get people elected. That is a fact. Thank you.
All right. Thanks for the time too.
Appreciate you. So, Edward, your response.
Yeah, thank you. I just want to compliment the caller for his
Mm-hmm.
effort in listening and also calling. But I
Mm-hmm.
think what you need to understand here is that when we are saying money influence policy in Africa, we're not even watching at the amount of money in question here.
Mm-hmm.
Because you are watching at the vulnerable population
Mm-hmm.
whose livelihood is highly met out. So,
Yeah.
irrespective of politicians have money, he shouldn't. I think he shouldn't just watch at. I don't want him to make him a blanket cry down of saying that money
Mm-hmm.
does not influence politics in Africa. In fact, money is the key factor, irrespective of the tribe that they are coming from. People are not going just to vote blindly on the tribe, but what is that tribe man or the kingsman actually doing for the people in question? That is why you have seen in Africa, let me tell him one thing, people are actually denying their own tribe men and vote for other tribe men
Exactly.
because if the tribe man is not making a return of any money, and most of these decisions have been taken, we are not seeing, but people are even diverting or emanating from a tribal land of politics, trying to get a direct reward of what they have. And we are almost seeing this thing. When we talk, we're talking about Nigeria. Nigeria is a practical example. But you are watching at a population that is nearly around 300 million, and you are watching at the Yoruba, the Igbos, and the Hausas who are actually dominated. So, irrespective of how money may play in the Nigerian politics, as long as you're having the Igbo, the Hausas, the Yoruba, being the densely populated people in Nigeria, and normally they actually produce candidates, one of them must win. But in places like in Liberia, you have the pellets, they may be the leading majority into Liberia, but how many pellets actually have money? And you are Liberia, you just talk about look at the population of Liberia and say if only the Pele alone can vote for a Pele man, will they have vote? No, they can't have the enough vote to go and represent themselves, especially in time of the presidential election. So what they normally do, they influence voters in the name of money, and voters want money. And that is why you need to understand. You need to understand the livelihood of Africa. In America, money does not influence policy deep down into the root because most people they may not be rich, but they have what they take to eat. In Africa, it is not like that. So let him understand that factor. Nigeria is a peculiar one because we have dominated tribes who can actually determine election. In Sierra Leone, a single tribe cannot determine election. In Liberia,
Exactly.
a single tribe cannot determine election.
Exactly. Amar, that's a good point. That and he's right about you know tribalism. Playing a
Exactly.
role is huge. We agree that, and
Agree.
again, we can also agree enough that popularity, like President, we have popularity help to get him elected today. It's I don't think it's because of money. It's because of popularity. But what
Exactly.
we are
Exactly.
saying is money like popularity and travel line has been a key factor in getting people elected. And they use money to entice voters by giving them these gifts so that they can be able to vote for them. Let me use my county of Grand Cru County as an example. Honorable Peter Coleman, who is a medical doctor by profession, he won in Grand Cru. Prior to him making a decision to run, that was when he started going to Grand Cru. And when he got there, he started doing things. He started carrying on surgical operation on the poor people. He built a house there. He started giving, physical things to the people. And he was there every now and then sharing gifts with the people. At the end of the day, the people saw that, whoa, if that man can give us these items and do these few things for us, while we are yet to vote for him, I'm sure when we reciprocate, he will be able to do more. Today, my friends in Grand Crew are telling me that Peter Koma is a complete disappointment. So you can understand that he did those things at a time because he wanted the people vote to get the position that he wanted. If it was only to represent the people and serve them, he would be doing better right now. Another senator who got elected in Grand Creek County was Cletu Watterson. Cletu Watterson in Liberia is seen as quote unquote a rich man. In that election, I participated in that election. I was part of the campaign process. He is from Grand Sex, but it will surprise you that he won more votes in Bagleyville, in Sastan, in Double, in many areas. All right, in many areas he won because he spent the highest amount of money during that election time. He was even giving jersey to football teams in all the towns, and that's how he got elected. So money actually plays a role.
Absolutely. Money does play role in every politics in Africa. Even here, we are. I am staying in Kenya, man, living in a many-dominated tribal land. But we are seeing candidates who are definitely dominated by tribe. Like even we have one man who is a Kisi, the same tribe I belong to. That is Numati. Now he's part of now the government committee parliament.
Right.
He's representing one of the constituencies in Sierra Leone. He's a Kisi by tribe, emanating or hailing way away from Kailaon. We are one of the least tribes in this country. But just because he stayed here and he's a little bit influential, I'm not saying he used money, but he managed to get himself into the realm of power. So will you say people only vote on tribal land because they want particular candidate to be elected? No, I'm not actually distributing the fact that tribal land is a key factor, but money also play a very key role, and money cannot be deleted in African politics, especially when it comes to the determination of our vote. That is why when politicians come into power, they do not even tend to respect the social term of the contract, because they know that they were somehow voted in the name of their popularity, but money dished out to these voters play important role. And let me tell you one thing, we're also talking about the popularity of George Weah. Granted, that is a fantastic part. Even during Ellen time, he contested the first election here and Ellen. We know that he went for the second round. It's only during the second time of election that Ellen won the election. And now, because of George Weah's popularity, he had that majority in this latest election. He won the election. But now we are scrutinizing George Weah's performance at the backdrop of what they voted him for. And now most people are now crying the administration down. So if George Weah can only depend on his popularity come the next election, I wonder where he will win the election. So you see where money will come to play. And also tribe will be there. People may tend to vote for George Weah because he's from tribe A or tribe B. But if he cannot have the money to dish out, they will not tend to vote for him. Most people who are even representing him in parliament, people are crying them down that we expected you to do more and we are doing less. If not, we are not even seeing anything that you are doing. So they may definitely tend to vote on tribal land. So let him also think about that. In Africa, money does everything.
Yeah, thank you. Let's bring in a caller here. We have another caller, Edward. Caller from phone number 5983. I think that's a Philadelphia number. Where you joining us from?
Thank you very much, my dear brother. I watch your show every day, every evening. My name is Bert Dino. I'm calling from the city of Cedar Rapids in Iowa.
Oh, okay.
I concord deeply with all of you. I concord in our country, in Africa. Our eyes are opening door. Africa, money ought to aid in America. American policy, as my brother talked about, is completely different. People can donate $4, $5, even 50 cents. We can donate to
caller, can you change your location? You are in and out. Your voice is going in and out. So we're not getting the quality from you. It's on.
It looks like that's my Bluetooth. It's like that my Bluetooth.
Yes, please.
You guys hearing me now?
No, you've gone down again.
Are you guys hearing me now?
Yeah, it's better now. Go ahead.
Okay. Now comes to Liberia. When it comes to Liberia, let me take your I'll try a little bit with the 16 and the 25 million dollars. The $16 billion that we were told it is in Liberia. When you remember when people saying Yeke crazy, Yeke this, when the $16 billion got missing, and our government told there was no Liberian money on market, they used to give people racking money. They said there was no money. Where are these money coming from today? On your show yesterday, I believe you asked for Excellency, Madam Joas Howard Taylor. She does some of those questions. Where is the money coming out today that Representative Fala is taking $1 million Liberian dollars, which equivalent to I don't know how many thousand US dollars? Where is the money coming from? And we and you people on the social media, when you all say it, and when we say it, they say we hate the government. Now, let's take where our brother from Sierra Leone just spoke of. Money. But money is not all to it now in Liberia. As we, Liberia, are seeing what's happening, people carry rights to fool our people. People carry money to fool our people. The thinking son now in Liberia, my dear brother, is bring your money. We will eat it. That our money. So our people are educated one way or the other. They will bring you the money and they will eat it. How much did dollars they don't spend in Liberia to win election? Zero. Zero. We, the supporter of Mr. Delon, Senator Delon, we sometimes chip in with $20. We sometimes chip in with $50 to build that little place he's doing for the Zogo. And the people are seeing it. And people are talking. So yes, money can influence vote, but it's not now, not at this time. You remember 1997 election? They say if you came Papa, you came Mama, I will vote for you because we were tired. Let me come back to our president. Our president have disappointed all of us. It is so good that you're from the Southeast. That the coma operated on me in 1993 when I had a penny. I never believed that the coma would even go into politics. This is what killed people's dream in Liberia. If I'm a police officer and law enforcement officer and I did criminal justice administration, yes, I can go in police. But we should try to tell our people, coming to you, sitting with you, doing something if you need something to be done in your life. Look at, as you correctly said, look at Dr. Coleman today. My dad disappointed me. He saved my life. He do. I mean, he did. He did save my life. In Yikepa, 1993, when I had a
Okay.
permit.
Can I ask a question, my
life.
brother? If the voter accept the
Yes.
gift that the politicians are giving them in exchange for vote, does it mean that the voters are themselves part of the problem? Are they corrupt as well?
Let me answer your question another way you might not like it. They are not educated on voting rules and regulations. We need to educate our people. The people are blind. Our people are blind. So many areas in our country, Liberia, radio cannot reach there.
All right.
Although radio is all over, but they don't have the money to buy battery to listen to radio. Except we go to our people in the villages and educate them that this is how you people need to vote. That's the only time our country will be changed. Money.
All right, my brother, thank you.
doesn't
We got a
mean
lot of callers.
that you should have
We want
money.
to go to the next caller. Please conclude.
Okay, my conclusion now is, my people, Liberians, you are not educate our people and stop, doing things that we don't supposed to do. When you go for election or you go for campaign, leave the cursing. Don't educate our people. These people are not good for us. They are not good for you people that are voting them into power. When they come, it will take them another 5 to 8 years before they come back. So that's the only thing we have to help our people. Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, let's go to our next caller here. Caller with phone number ending in 8819. Quickly to the issue, your name and where you're joining us from.
Hi, this is Sharon, and I join you from Rhode Island.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, your
So just
question
to
or
go straight
comment.
into the discussion.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, Melanie, just to go straight into the discussion, actually what the guy is saying, I'm actually enjoying him a whole lot because what he's saying is making a whole lot of sense. We are not going to say tribal or tribal relationship. Popularity don't bring people to power. We saw it with George. We did not have to spend money to win elections. He did not have to go through the process of buying t-shirts to print. Citizens were doing it for themselves because of the popularity he gained from the soccer page. But you look at it all, at the end of the day, African politicians most often use money to come to power. They use financial means to come to power. If they are not using financial means to bribe the citizens or bribe the voters, they use it at the end of the electoral process. So we cannot say money does not influence electoral process. It does a whole lot. Yeah. Look at Thomas Fala today. Few years ago, a few months ago, when he was running for representative, was he in a position to give $1 million out to the people of his constituency or of his district? Was he in a position to give $1 million out? He was not in that position. Today he's in power, telling for another position. He is capable of giving $1 million. Like the guest said, George Weah. Look at George Weah, the way he's leading today. George Weah popularity has dropped down to nothing. The only way Weah can go to next election and successfully survive is either because of the fact that he's the president, he has that authority, or he could use his financial means at the end of the day. Proper lines, all those things make people win election, but African politicians do not go to election without putting money in the process.
Thank you.
They do not go to election without putting money in the process. You will see a young man in his county, young man in his district, he's doing well, building 1 or 2 schools, building hospital. The next thing you look, he runs straight to politics. Mm-hmm. And I feel like most often the reason why I can do that, I feel like what I have given to the people, I want it back. Because not many of them who go and do things in the district, do things in the county, help the people, not many of them will come to power and do exactly what they were doing before.
Thank you.
Not many of them. And we continue to see that repeating itself over and over.
Thank you.
So the issue of money, it plays a very major role in African politics, which is very bad.
Thank you. Thank you so very much.
Thanks for hosting me on your show.
You are welcome. All right. Edward, is rain coming at your end there?
Yeah, but I'm comfortable where I am.
Okay, y'all. Edward, let's go to the final section here of the show. Let's go to the final section here of the show. And the final section is, how can we solve this problem? We have a few questions here we're going to go into, and then after that, we will be out of here. Question number 1, what are some possible ways we can stop this behavior? Will putting laws and policy into place help? What will it make sense to eliminate campaigning and do debates on it? What about reducing political parties and candidates? Will all these measures help to minimize politicians using money to buy votes and now provide and thereafter providing poor representation for the people because they feel that they have paid the price of the election that they won anyway. They bought the seats. So it is now time for them to make their profit. Will these measures help, in your opinion?
Oh, thank you very much. I think you just highlighted some of the major things. The first thing, there are solutions to every problem. I believe that for every problem we have solution towards it, except that. But even when you are dead, we still bury you. I think the majority of the voters in Africa are youth. So all we need to do is to intensify the political education of the voters, because they are youth, but most of them are illiterate. So the best thing we need to do first is to sensitize the voters that any politician who intends to bribe you in the name of him acquiring your vote is doing you no good, rather harming you, and he's indirectly asking you to sell your country at your own detriment. When he comes in, he's definitely going to rule in his own interest. So in fact, he's not going to lead you, rather he's going to rule you. The other thing is that we have the Electoral Commissioner. And the Electoral Commission actually have all of these laws embedded into the system that actually warrant them to actually ban or invalidate a particular politician candidacy who have been caught voting. And Africa today is now sophisticated in terms of electronic. And most of those things that are actually like what we saw today on screen, these were pictures that we are taking either secretly or clandestinely and posted online for people to see that this is what politicians are doing. I think we need to intensify the law, and this clause, we already have the clauses to the Constitution. So I think the clauses need to be entrenched or given more power, and they should be interpreted. And when these clauses are interpreted, please, those who are going to appoint as the head of the Electoral Commissioner, they should be very active, and they should make it in black and white to do contesting candidates, those who are actually satisfied or qualified to vote. That in case you are caught bribing voters or an allegation have been leveled against you, if immediately an allegation comes in against your candidacy, we are going to temporarily hold on your candidate and do the investigation. If you are found guilty of having bribed voters or being in the position to bribe voters, you are definitely going to forfeit your candidacy. I think all of these things can happen. By the end of the day, we have laws that actually exist in theory, but they are not in practical. So politicians actually use what they have today to get what they want. So I think we have the laws are in process, because if you reach each and every country's constitution, they actually have those laws that are actually embedded into the constitution, preventing or if not banning any electoral candidate or a contesting candidate not to in any way directly or indirectly influence voters' choice by giving them money in the name of voting for them or having block vote. When they are found into this thing, the law is clear, they should be banned. But they are not interpreting the law. I think the judiciary system or the legal system need to be more intensified. We only see the law coming into play when the politician loses election, they take the election, the winning candidate to court. At the end of the day, except in Kenya, and now the latest been happening in Malawi, when Lazarus have just won. In Kenya, we saw what happened. They turned it at the end of the day, Uhuru Kenyatta won. I think we need to interpret the system.
Well, thank you, Edward. Again, on the question of will putting laws and policy into place help? Some people believe that very strongly. So what might be some of those laws and policy? Like somebody is making a case that maybe we should eliminate campaign. So what if you eliminate campaign? How will these candidates be able to introduce themselves to the voters by telling them what they are able to do? How will the voters be able to get to know the people who want to represent them in the absence, of campaign? Because it is through the campaign process you see these people trying to give money and other gifts in order to entice the votes or buy the votes from the voters. Some people are saying eliminate campaign, do only debates, organize a debate that the candidates, if it is in a county election, maybe you can have the debate for 4 or 5 times, or maybe 4 times, where the candidate go in a hall, is televised, and then it's recorded and put on YouTube and put on social media. People can go live so that the voters can have the opportunity to hear from the candidates at least 4 times before the election, based on what these candidates will be able to articulate as to what they will do. When they are elected, they will feel more accountable to the people that gave them that blessing. But if you provide the opportunity where they go to the people through a campaign process with gifts and t-shirts and all that, and they spend tons and tons of money and they get elected, they feel that the money they have spent, they need to get that money back. And knowing that they have to do the same process again at the end of that term, they will save money throughout the time they are in power. And when the election years come, whatever they save, they will use it again to invest it by buying votes again. And that's the only way they know that they will be able to get to power. But if you eliminate, some people are making the argument, if you eliminate the issue of campaign and you have debates, and they go and debate and say, this is what I'm going to do. And when they are elected, when election is coming again, this time around, they will be going to the people to tell them, this is what I have done over the 4 or 5 years that I was in power, and this is why you should trust me. Because at that time now, they are not allowed to give the people gifts. They are not allowed to give them t-shirts and money. They are not allowed. It will be based on their records, all right, on the representation and the oversight that they have provided, that the people have seen with their eyes, will make the people to make a decision whether or not to vote for them again. Some people are making the argument that that will eliminate, the voters being induced to vote for individuals that they would not vote for if at all they were not giving rights. But other people are making the argument that, look, whether you give the person right, or whether the candidate gave you rights or money, the candidate is not behind you when you get into that booth. So why you can't vote for another person? But then the counter is, well, because these people are relying on giving money and rights and other things, they don't play emphasis on explaining to the people what they will do when they get to power, because they understand that that particular messaging doesn't sell to the people. So they want to do it that way. But when you eliminate the issue of campaign, the candidates will feel that they must be accountable to the people in order for them to be voted. I tend to agree with that a little more. Now, other people are saying you need to reduce political parties and you need to reduce the amount of candidates. They are saying when you do so, it will minimize, because in a competition now, or Amara, when there is a competition where you see that there are fewer goals fewer goals, more money chasing fewer goals, you will see that the money will become plentiful. All right. So I don't know, but that's the argument some people are making. But I tend to agree with the one that say eliminate the issue of campaign. Let there be debates. Debate should be the only form of opportunity for the candidates to be able to introduce and sell themselves to the people. Eliminate the issue of campaign, because campaign is a money making thing and it does not benefit the voters. It tends to benefit the candidates who use that time to buy votes with money, rice, t-shirts, and other things. All right, folks, this is how we will come to the end of this broadcast. Let me read a few comments and I get a parting statement from my man, Bekubwe Paro. Not everyone will have the means to watch debate on YouTube, Facebook, and other means. Well, you're making a point there. Then they should have a radio. The debate will be on the radio too. All right. Bakube Para again, yes, vote your conscience, but again, illiteracy is too high in Africa, especially Liberia. Well, my man is getting back to you, so let's close the broadcast based on our topic. What is your concluding statement? How can we, handle these things better?
Thank you very much. I think it has been an interesting debate, and we appreciate all those who participated. On the contrary, I tend to agree with you guys less to eliminate campaign. No, we shouldn't eliminate campaign. You cannot solve a problem by creating another huge problem. We all know during campaign time, politicians are given the opportunity to express themselves, communicate through their manifestos, and tend to entertain, educate, and inform the populace about what they will definitely do. I think the best solution to do this, there is a clause in the corrupter. They said he who bribe corrupt, and he also received the bribe corrupt. Why not also inform these so-called voters that if you receive bribe from any politician in the name of vote, you are definitely going to be charged to court, because he will receive bribe corrupt, and he will also bribe you corrupt. So tell these voters that each time you receive vote in the name of voting for a particular politician, you're also you are committing a crime, and that crime is capable of landing you into prison. And we have seen voters making double vote. They have been caught and sent to prison, disciplined for some months, and asked to pay certain amount of money. They will definitely leave. And tell them that if anybody clandestinely give you money in the name of returning vote, they will definitely punish you. So that could be the one. And tell the electoral commissioner to be reactive, proactive, and they should almost always work in the interest of the people. But most of the times, wrong people are appointed, especially to head these electoral commissioners or commissions. That is why if the wrong person who is actually only responsible to serve into the party interests have been appointed at the helm of affairs of a particular National Electoral Commission, even when ruling, especially politicians who are actually in power, they are doing wrong, the Electoral Commission, who has the right to either validate or invalidate your candidacy, we tend to turn a blind eyes on it, because they know that they are only serving the party interest instead of them. So we should also know who to appoint as the National Electoral Commission, who is actually responsible to coordinate the affairs of these people. But eliminating campaign, we definitely tend to create a lot of trouble. And somebody rightly mentioned, how many people have radios? How many people will be even opportune to go through YouTube and watch these campaigns? How many people have television? And some people, even when they hear these things, they may not clinically objectively analyze until the politicians are. Sometimes when these politicians are at their forefront, if they explain everything, if they don't understand, somebody will ask and we explain them into their own local dialect that they may tend to understand. So eliminating campaign will only be adding problem to the more problems to the already existing problem. I think we just need to tell the judiciary, the electoral commission, the police, whosoever that is involved, who is a public civil servant, should be very responsible, objective, and patriotic in dispensing their duties. Rather, everything is just going to be the same thing. So when we have a system that is set up, that is free from all corrupt practices, trust me, we can have a better electoral process in Africa. And also, let us tell our voters to vote their conscience always. If politician give you money, collect it. Sometimes it is an opportunity that you have to collect. But asking the purpose of the money, if he says it is good, it is for free, you can take it. Or if he bribe you clandestinely that the populace do not actually know, go and vote your conscience. You may wonder to find that there are certain politicians today in Sierra Leone who are actually in parliament. They cannot express themselves. Some of them are known as backbenchers. When they enter into parliament, all what they do, they concord and collect brand envelopes and leave. Some people are even calling themselves as councillors. They are found within this local district council. They hardly express themselves. So if you and I get into or go into church, I fail to pray for myself.
And Edward, that is why we should eliminate this holding a campaign and do debates, because you're talking about this man being elected and becoming a bench warmer in the back collecting brand envelope. If that person knows that, Lord, this job you're taking, you have to come to face the voters in a debate where you have to explain yourself. If they know that they have that ability to do so, and they know that they will be held accountable at the end of the term to show what they have done in terms of representation. If they know that they don't have the ability, they will not even jump into election in the first place. These are the very ones, for the most part, who go there because they see it as a business. They know that they have the potential to raise money and give t-shirts, and so on that basis they will be voted. They go there, and when the voters accept the gift, what happens? They accept the gifts at their own power and detriment. They tend to be the losers. And so the whole campaign team, what does campaign do anyway? What do they do campaign time? Is it campaign time they show to you that they are good? No. They just pass around and try to entice you with something. So let's eliminate it. Debate can be a better replacement of that. Let them go and articulate the issue and explain what they will do to the voters. That's the position I want to believe. And if candidates are running, let them apply. When they apply, let the election body responsible verify their application. And in fact, there shouldn't be any money for you to apply. Everybody should be given an opportunity to apply. Everybody should be given an opportunity to go to the debate and showcase themselves. Because there are a lot of good people, well-intentioned, who don't have money, and because they don't have the first cent, they don't even apply anyway. And because they don't have money, they can't contest. These people, when given the opportunity, will do better than those that have the money, and those that have the money tend to be the wrong people all of the time. And that is where I think we should leave it. Amara, let's do this again. He is our West African correspondent based in Freetown, Sierra Leone. Here I focus on Liberia. My name is Anthony Sie. The program you just watched is the Hour of Politics, where we discuss the issue in a very responsible manner. This evening at 7 p.m. Eastern, we have a show coming up, and that show is called Chemistry and Society. The presenter is Dr. Saki Golafale, a young Liberian with PhD in chemistry. He will be discussing the topic, the chemistry of vaccine development. COVID-19 is here, right? You see how long it's taking for them to produce a vaccine? Do you want to get that understanding? Do you want to know what goes on, in the production or the development of the production of vaccine? Do you want to know why it's taking this long? The pandemic has killed over 150,000 people around the world, and yet they can't come up with a vaccine. Why is that taking too long? The guest will be that Dubé Yan, he's a scientist, and also another Liberian who is also a scientist. These two guys will be here to explain to you the whole process that goes on in developing a vaccine. You do not want to miss it. On that note, I want to say to you, I focus on Liberia. We have two cardinal responsibilities. Three cardinal responsibilities: to educate, to elevate, and promote all things Liberia. Amara, we can't thank you enough. Enjoy your time there in Freetown, Sierra Leone. Bye-bye. Folks, I have a song for you. It's called We Are All Liberians, and Liberia is our home. Enjoy that song. As I say to you here from Focus on Liberia, bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Good night.
We are Liberians.